welcome back to Maxwell Starr's Beer Reviews. Tonight for our 500th beer review extravaganza. Tonight we're actually going to do something that the other beer tubers online have been doing. Albino Rhino and Al Harlock have posted this as far as I know. What we're going to do is we're going to do, in lieu of any kind of like top 10 list or like top 10 most desired beers or a bucket list, like I did on my 150th anniversary review anniversary video, we're going to do what everybody else is doing. Yeah, I know, bowing to public opinion.
We have a public?
Apparently. We're going to do a
shameless horse to peer pressure.
A top beers list, most influential beers on our lives. This is something that the Albino Rhino came up with, and you know what, I'm going to follow suit and do it. And I decided to get everybody else involved on doing this with me.
You're a copycat.
Hey, I'm being original in the fact that I'm getting 4 people to do it at once.
We're always here.
Okay, so what's your most influential beer?
Well,
since you wrote down your phone.
I did write it down on my phone. I did this at work.
Do you do anything other than work?
I made it's like
you actually work?
Boards, yeah. Anyway, I'm in a Catan board, yeah. All right, yeah. So, top 5 influential beers. I'll start.
Well, just go with like the number 1, the first one.
The first one, I was gonna go reverse. I was gonna go from 5 down to 1.
Well,
that's fine. Do it anywhere.
Okay.
Do it in any order you want. Just we'll do it one beer at a time, okay?
Number 5, my Alpine. Alpine. It's the first beer I've ever tried. It's not a staple in my diet right now, but it's not a bad beer.
Yeah, staple in our diet right now is poison.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, for me, when I first was in high school, when I graduated from high school, I had an Alpine. Just because it's made right here in St. John, New Brunswick, and it was just available.
It's got to live in your parents' fridge.
And it was in my, it was in a friend's fridge.
Real?
Yes. I even tell you the friend, I'll tell you offline.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. What was your first beer?
My first beer was a Keith's in a bottle. I had it at my then girlfriend's, I think it was her grandmother's place or something. They were passing, it was a French family and they were passing out alcohol to everyone.
Were you of age?
I was of age, actually. I was about 4 months of age. I'd had hard liquor up until this point, but I never drank beer. And yeah, anyway, they gave me a Keith's. And even though I could have like 3 or 4 drinks of hard liquor and be just fine, because it was my very first beer ever, I got completely hammered on one beer at like a family dinner. And I had to pretend the rest of the evening to be normal.
Wow.
And anyway, Keith's remained kind of my go-to beer for many a year after that.
Wow. That's it.
See, like you guys, I tried the Alpine, I tried the Keith's, I tried all that stuff, but that wasn't the beer that I could actually sit down and drink.
Okay, so you don't really want to mention your first beer. You want to? I see your top 5 list here.
No, these are
the first 3
I
Guinness.
haven't had all these.
Oh, you haven't had it. Well,
No.
you've had one of them.
I've actually had
The first 2
of
potatoes.
them.
Okay, so what's your number 1?
My number
What was
one-
your first beer?
I'm Irish. Guinness was my go-to.
You fucking started with Guinness?
I did.
Wow, man, awesome. Wow.
How about you?
Got you in Guinness.
Well,
My wife and my best friend got me drinking Guinness.
nice,
John.
for me, I'm gonna do this in 2 parts because there's 2 really influential beers in this category. The first beer that I ever tried, the first beer I really drank. And one of the first beers that I ever really tried was, I must have been 7 or 8 years old, and I tried a sip of it. But don't think about it that way.
Doesn't count.
I didn't have a full beer until I was 18.
Still underage.
Yeah, shut up.
I had mine
In New Brunswick.
Just a sip.
Yeah, just a tip. Alright, so the first beer that I ever had was had a taste. My dad used to play ball down, like softball down at Gainesville Park. He's not a drinker, and he never was, never will be. But, you know, he'll have a beer every once in a while to be sociable. And I remember one day having that taste of Moosehead's Pale Ale.
Oh.
And, yeah, I like Moosehead's Pale Ale to this day. But, I mean, it is a plain macro beer, but that's the one that I first remember, and for years, that's what I used to think of when I remembered the taste of beer. But the first beer that I ever really got drunk on was when I was 18, and I was at a party with remember like Chris Allen and Ted Clark and all them. We went to this little camping thing across the highway in the woods.
I remember that.
Yeah, you weren't there, but you remember hearing about it because me and Chris Allen ended up wandering back home drunk in the middle of the night.
Did you really?
Because somebody had wrecked our tent. Anyway, it was Alpine.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Alpine.
similar to you. But Alpine was the first real beer that I drank. I had 3.5 of them, I think, and I was drunk as a skunk.
Well,
so number 2. What would be number 2 on our list? Who wants to go first?
I'll start again.
You go first.
My number 4 influential beer. All right, I'm going backwards here.
All right.
Is IPAs and double IPAs.
What?
I hate them.
I notice you hate them. That's the reason why you're on this channel.
They influence my current taste so much that I avoid them. I know what to look for and I know what the smell is, and I'll avoid them. So
IPAs?
I've learned that IPAs and double IPAs, no, get away from me. My IPAs and double IPAs are no good. That's my number 4 on influential beer.
So would there be a specific beer you can name there, or just the style in general?
Just a style there.
So I think
Go ahead there, Heist.
what I was going to do in the second category.
All right, you want to do second?
Well,
Your
yeah,
second
sure. I'll go
category?
second.
All right.
The first beer that I ever had when trying different stuff, like actual breakout beer, was Guinness. Not the first beer I'd ever had, but the first beer that got me interested in saying, "Holy crap, there are other beers out there."
It was the beer that says, "I can drink."
Yeah, it was the one that would make me decide that beer was the type of beverage that I would drink alcohol with. What about you, Heist?
Alright, well, I was going to do something different for the second one, but if we're going to go into that category, the one I picked for that category was, I couldn't remember which one it was because I got so wrecked on them. Back when I was like around 20, me and a friend of mine picked up the weirdest things we could find in the liquor store, and at the time it was either or possibly both Maudit and the Fin du Monde.
Holy shit.
From Unibrew, and anyway, we were both
Started off weird.
pretty much just macro lager drinkers at that point, and we were like, hey, this is from Quebec, hey, it's got Satan on the bottle, and anyway, and we're like, hey, it's like 9%, that's awesome, and so we took it down to his basement and watched some movies and got wrecked, and I was like, this doesn't taste like any beer I've had before, beer can taste like this, wow, and yeah, it was all downhill from there.
Wow. Who's basement?
Dave.
Dave's.
See, sadly, it would take me hours and hours and hours of YouTubing to figure out what one allowed me to really branch off of my nice comfort zone of Guinness. And it would actually come down to the first Abbey one that I had with you.
Really?
Yep. And then, I couldn't tell you. But then after that, my wife and I tried the...
California there. This is
Well,
a couple months ago.
even before the California trip, I started trying the La Trappe Triple.
The Trap Triple.
So the La Trappe Triple would have to be my number 2.
Eye opener.
Yeah, because it allowed me to look at it in a whole new light.
Because I knew you at that point, obviously, but but I remember you like whenever I talk about beer, you were like talk about how much you like rum instead.
Oh, because I'm a rummy.
I know, and you still are, but at the same time, it's the one that made you really consider different beer.
Yep.
All right.
Cool.
So my third, middle of the road, for this category, I said, what are my go-to beers now? Coors Light, Bud Light, Moose Light. I drank so many of those.
Lager boy!
I'm a lager boy at heart. I've drank so many of those. Those are my go-to beers. Right? Not my favorite beers, but it's my go-to beers.
So my former go-to lager one, which was I was gonna do for number 2, but I switched it out.
Okay.
I'm doing eye opener ones. Back when Fuzz and I used to go to the pub and watch wrestling at the pub, I would always order.
540.
I would always order a Moose
Counts
Light.
down.
Or sorry, not Moose Light. Moose
Counts
Dry
down.
Ice.
So we have 5 minutes left, but we got 5 minutes left.
All right.
Okay.
Moose Dry Ice. Yeah, I was listening.
Moose Dry Ice?
Moose Dry Ice.
You were in Nova
But you
Scotia at the time,
Yeah,
yeah?
no, we were here.
You were here? You actually did that here?
Yeah, we got it at Smoothies, which doesn't exist, and you can't get Moose Dry Ice in the province anymore.
No.
And you can't see wrestling in bars anymore. So it's just my my nostalgic beer of a bygone age.
Wow.
All right, if we're going with go-tos, currently my go-tos, I've got 3. My go-tos are the La Trappe Triple, because you can get that in St. John, and that's for my, just got off of work. It was a shitty day at work. I want something to make me happy. Pump House Doppelbock.
Which is almost non-available now. It's pretty
Yeah,
well sold out.
It was seasonal, but
Yeah.
I picked up 2 6-packs before, last time I was in the
Just to
alcohol
get
store.
fucking drunk.
No, just to put them in the fridge and enjoy whenever. And the one that's available 24/7 in St. John, Moose Light Lime. You know what? That's right.
For lime beers, Moose Light Lime isn't bad. I don't hate it. I don't even drink it on a regular basis, but
it is a beverage.
It's a beverage.
But
it tastes like lime Fruit Loops.
It's really nice, dark, tasty. Really nice, dark, tasty. Extremely light.
Yeah.
Not very tasty.
For my number three position was going to be, considering this is a most influential beer list, my number 3 most influential beer is the first craft beer that I ever really tried. Like, I'm not talking Guinness. I'm talking first beer that I had from a craft brew company that really opened my eyes to the world of craft beer, and that would be Pump House's Fire Chief Red. And I had that with you at your camp, I think. And first time I had this, it was that eye opener when you realized that a good craft beer from New Brunswick could actually taste really good.
Now my favorite craft beer is Pump House Blueberry.
Pump House Blueberry, there you go. See, the Waterboy actually does drink craft beer every once in a while.
Blueberry beer with like a pint of blueberries in it.
Yes. Well, no, only from Pump House. I mean,
Probably
really.
Yeah.
Not the bottle ones. The bottle ones suck.
Oh, I kind of enjoyed the bottle ones with like a thing of
With some blueberries in it. Yeah, you
a
have to
lot
add
of blueberries.
You have to add your own blueberries. But like one of my favorite
You
craft beers
get it on draft.
on tap in the Pump House Blueberry.
Wow. Because you get it at the Pump House on tap, and
With
blueberries
in
are
it.
floating up at the bottom because of all the carbonation.
Yeah.
It's
That's my
actually
favorite
really
craft.
neat to look at. I mean, you can get that at the ale house in St. John too.
Yeah.
I remember you've seen yours once.
It was actually
Number 4. What would you be your number 4? What were you thinking?
In the interest of time, I'm going to do 4 and 5 at the same time because
Okay.
they're thematically related.
I will too.
Back in my university days, I would go down to the LCBO, and what really got me into the whole world of beer in general was not
LCBO?
actually not the LCBO, the NSLC. Whatever, it's an acronym. Down to the acronym store, where I would buy my acronyms.
And beer.
And beer. What got me really interested in beer in general was actually my desire and interest in geography and history and stuff. And I went down and I would buy beer from the craziest place that was available at the time. And the 2 that stick out most in my mind was a mixed 6-pack of Kitty Vitty beer from Newfoundland, because I'd always wanted to go to Newfoundland and had not yet been there at the
That's
time.
when you had all that.
And wouldn't go for years and years, probably 10 years after I had the Kitty Vitty 6-pack. So much to the point where they were still calling it Northern Beer and Northern Light before the brewery in Minnesota or something sued them. And Northern Brewery made them stop using that name. And the other one would be Tsingtao beer from China, which I bought just because it was from China and I had an interest in Asian history at the time. And to this day, it's still the standard I hold all import rice beers to.
Well played. So what's your 4 and 5 there, Fuzzy?
Well, my 4 and 5 would be my number 2 and 1s because I was working backwards.
Right.
My number
They're
2.
numbers.
Huh?
They're numbers,
Yeah.
and they're in some order.
Yeah, they're similar in order. My number 2, Moose Light Lime.
That's why you get the lime green shirt
That's
on.
why I have the
is it?
lime green shirt on, yeah. Moose Light Lime I have cases of that in my fridge. Easy. You go out to the store and you get them.
Molson 67 Sublime is the other one.
Is my number 1. Molson 67 Sublime. It's good taste. It's good on the waist. It's
Tastes like dish soap.
no, it tastes good.
Tastes like
I
dishwater.
enjoy it.
It tastes like a Sprite Spritzer.
Yeah. It gets you pretty waste. If you
All
drink
right.
a whole dozen of them.
You don't have to drink the whole dozen of them.
Yeah, but I enjoy it. It's Molson 67 Sublime.
All right, so we're
one
gonna
five
go
for you.
for. See, my 4 is kind of a toss-up because I found them pretty much right on par. I found the Rochefort 10 completely amazing, and I found the La Trappe Quad completely amazing.
Wow.
I enjoyed them both equally, and I had those when I was down in Cali. So kudos to the store that was there.
Stearns or a different one?
No,
Some other
Garrison.
Okay.
Garrison.
Wow, Halifax.
Or,
No.
sorry, no, not Garrison.
You're thinking of...
What's the...
Oh, down in
Yeah.
California.
That's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, what's the name?
Oh, that.
The bar you
Pin?
sent us.
Yeah.
See?
Oh, you said store.
Sorry,
you
bar.
meant bar. I don't know, that Abbey theme thing in Long Beach.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
put it in a
got the C. Yeah,
Starts with a
put
C,
somewhere
doesn't
down
it?
there. Yeah, the Congressional Ale Hips,
That's it.
I got the Rochefort Trappist 10, and I got the quad from Latra.
Alright, Max, bring us home.
All right.
But my number one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. We
it's-
haven't got his
Oh, I thought that
number
was
one.
the top.
No, those were the tie for
Keep
two.
talking.
The West Brethren. It was probably the best beer that I've ever had.
Fair enough.
Wow, fair enough. Give it to you there. For the 4 and 5 that I was going to say, the most influential beer, probably one of the most influential beers of my life, is the one that introduced me to doing beer reviews in the first place. And that would be another Pump House product, Pump House's SOB. Pump House SOB was different. It was quite a shock to me the first time I ever had it. It was bitter. I wasn't used to that kind of beer. But it had some great flavors to it. And I went online looking to see what kind of reviews or what people might have been saying about it. And the first thing that I came across was a video on YouTube from Lee, L. Harlock's The Hoadley Beer Reviews channel, review of this SOB from Pump House Brewery. And that was the first video beer review that I ever watched. And from that point on, for 2-3 years after that, I started watching beer reviews on YouTube, and up to the point where I actually started doing them myself. And now I'm sitting at my 500th beer review. So that's got to be one of the most influential beers. To add into that little list, another influential beer, and this is going to go on too, since everybody else is giving more than one of the single number, is another big influential beer, is that L. Harlock has a similar beer selection to what we have in New Brunswick, but not quite the same. And I noticed that he didn't review any Picaroons products. So I got lucky. In February 2010, I went up to Picaroons Brewery at the same time they released, the same day that they released in the bottles, Picaroons Maple Cream. And because nobody else had reviewed it on YouTube, I decided to try reviewing it myself. And what did I think to that? Well, I'm still here, aren't I? Actually, it was I recorded the review and I let it sit for a year because I didn't think it was very good. But when I did a beer trade that included a maple cream with L. Harlock, which coincidentally went bad. Yeah, I know he wants to switch things over. That coincidentally went bad, and he wanted to, when he announced that he got these beers from me, all of a sudden the views on my channel and on the beer reviews that I made had gone up. So I decided right around that time that it was as good a time as any to start reviewing, and it was all because of maple cream. My number one beer, and I'm going to have to say that this is probably the most awesome beer that I've ever had. And it's a toss-up. And I'm leaning towards one way. The two best beers, it's hard to pick what the best beer you've ever had is because you've had so many beers at 500, you know. But the best beer that I've ever had, I'd have to say, is Pliny the Elder. A close second is West Fluttering 12. That stuff was amazing. But Pliny the Elder has such a gorgeous hop taste, such an easily drinkable beer that I literally, you saw me, I savored it for 2 hours after I opened it.
Even the table gnome liked it.
Even the table gnome liked it.
The table gnome definitely likes
The
it.
table gnome definitely liked it. Anyway, so that's my number one.
The table gnome.
Yeah, the secret's out. I don't think anybody could have guessed that before. All right, so did you got your last ones? Got your last ones? I think we're done here. And we've gone way too long. Thanks for watching Maxwell Starr's Beer Reviews after 500 years, and enjoy episode 500.
Cheers to another 500.
Cheers to another 500, and hopefully we'll still be here. Down the hatch, everyone. Cheers. The only one who left to go down the hatch.
Yeah.